Okay, I'm going to just quickly try this out. So we're going to do simple 50 pieces because I want to be fast. Restart. Okay, that's fine. So I used to, before Spelunky, back when I was at Climax, I used to do this thing where I would record a Spelunky attempt at the start of every day, partly because I was really into Spelunky daily challenges, and there was a strong sort of leaderboard culture at the time. But a big part of it as well was I was having a very fun time at Climax. My now wife was long distance, and life was, it felt a bit isolating in some ways. Hey, Pix. But life was actually really good at the time. I think I started the habit before we got cats, but I did continue it while we had cats. And I continued it for a very long time, and I enjoyed the hobby, and like all those videos are still, up on my YouTube channel. They never really got any traction or anything, but really they weren't for other people so much. I mean, they were and they weren't. They were like a message in a bottle, so to speak, to the world. The important part was they were uploaded, well, frankly, mostly for the Spelunky to sort of, in case I just happened to have a really good run, which, to be fair, I usually didn't. And it would be funny because some days I'd be late to work or later because I'd have a really good Spelunky run that day. And other times, I'd die within the first 15 seconds. I don't share a lot of my VR gameplay, but the other thing is, at the moment, I'm having an absolute blast in life because I'm on this independent game dev journey. And again, it can be kind of isolating because we're not ready to talk about the project for a whole range of reasons. It'll be really obvious why we're not talking about the project when it's out. But I can generally talk about, dev work and what I'm up to there, and I can talk about Godot and stuff. And that's really useful to me because it provides like a little bit of a rubber duck experience, but it also gives me a space to be excited about the work, the minutiae of the work that I'm doing, which I really need because at the moment, like, we've got Pocket Gamer Expo going on, and I'm actually going to be heading off to that soon. Pocket Gamer Connect. I always forget the name. Pocket Gamer is the event. I'm not very good with public events. I really do enjoy them. They do revitalize me in a big way, but I get bored of people quite fast. Definitely introvert. Like, put me on stage to do a talk and everything, and I'm very happy to do a talk, but wandering around a conference it's not my native environment. Let's just say that. But it does really revitalize my love of what I do, and it really sort of gets me into the groove of things. So yeah, my thinking was, hey, I'm always saying to VR devs, what are you playing? What are you doing? And look, most VR games are not going to be suited for this kind of morning recording. Like, a lot of the games I'm playing are a little bit more intense, or they're a bit more actiony. Like, if I was to do something in the vein of a Gorilla Tag or a Beat Saber or a boxing game, like a FitXR or whatever, I think, it wouldn't be a great fit. Maybe if I didn't have as much to say, or I wasn't just chatty, I think that would be interesting. But I just wanted to do some casual sort of play video stuff and sort of show what I'm playing, but also, have a bit of time in my day to talk about the dev work we're doing, which I haven't spoken about much. At the moment, I'm chasing down a bunch of problems with Godot performance in the menu system, because in the menu system has a lot of stuff you don't want to keep in memory, because it's just a lot of specific stuff that you don't want to have resident in memory all the time. But obviously it's really important for menus to feel good. They're the first experience of a player's sort of thing. Whenever I say to people, like, if your menu and your UI is shit in your video game, I don't care if you live in a mansion or whatever. You're basically, slopping pig shit on the front lawn and going, hey, look how lovely my house is. So, I think some love to the boot up experience and to the menu system is important. And I'll be honest, I've probably put too much effort into it. I've done so many revisions. Because the other thing about the menu system is you can't just think about the first time someone boots up. You've got to think about the 100th time they boot up. How quickly can they get to the thing they actually care about? The game they want to play. Because I think that's the other part of it, right? And if you've got all these long load times and such, because that's the other thing. I do firmly believe that on a modern system, for most games, load screens are total bollocks. There's no reason for load screens. Like for big AAA titles, and on first boot and stuff, there's places for load screens, but I feel like your play experience should largely be uninterrupted by them, especially in VR. But obviously, because you're in VR, any kind of streaming hitches and GPU stuff, this is very simple things I'm doing, by the way, but I'm just having to go dig into the Godot stuff, which, largely very well written, but, it's also written by a lot of people and is collaborative. And so sometimes you're like, well, this performance trade-off is a totally acceptable one. And then you come to VR and it's like, this is totally not an acceptable performance trade-off. It's like, we don't want to keep this in memory and we don't want to do this, so we'll do it when we need to, and it might result in a 1-frame hitch or a 2-frame hitch, which, if you're making a desktop game, totally acceptable. Well, I mean, not acceptable, but more acceptable. But if you're in VR, it's just not the case. Okay, we're at that phase where my brain just hasn't really aligned these pieces. I'm liking this bit. So I'm already resource loading on a separate thread, and I'm instantiating the nodes on a separate thread. But obviously, when you actually add nodes to the scene tree, there is a lot of logic that then gets keyed off, specifically around the renderer, because now the stuff is considered ready to render and has to be staged in the renderer. Now, that work has to be done, but ideally what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to spread that work across multiple frames and be smart about how that all gets loaded into memory, and avoid any sort of frame hitches. So VR is very unforgiving in that sense, in the sense that, like, you just have to roll with it, and you have to, like, make sure you don't overrun any frame times. That being said, it is always worth noting for that stuff that what the OpenXR runtime really cares about is the XR begin end wait frame. And when you really dig into the renderer, there are tricks you can do, like reusing part of the previous render pass to avoid doing as much work, maybe interpolating some stuff. There's hacks, there's tricks. I didn't think I'd need to be reaching for them this soon, if I'm honest, and I'm trying to avoid it because I have a tendency to, because I can dig into the engine and because the engine's there to dig into, it's very easy to dig into the engine. I have a tendency to be like, let's make this better rather than let's just hack the thing that we need. And I've got to acknowledge that I'm an indie dev. I'm not getting paid by Sony or Adobe or a big company anymore, and I've got to think more like my Climax days or more like my Mere Mortals days. Okay, one sec. Sorry, there'll be a little stitch in the video there. I just needed to deal with something. Yeah, so I need to think more like, when I was working in third-party studios that had no budgets. It's really funny through a very long story that I shan't tell here, maybe another time. My mum and me ended up working at the same game studio, the first game studio I ended up working at. It was... I was working there. She was an accountant in Newcastle doing lots of different companies, and she just happened to start doing the company I worked for as like a freelance gig, and then they took her on full time, and yeah, it's one of those weird sort of things that happens. Anyway, me and my mum can talk about my first games company in a bunch of detail, and she's got a better memory of some things than I do, because obviously she's an accountant and the stuff she was working on. And we started talking about like the budgets of the titles that I used to work on then. Now, obviously, inflation and everything's slightly different, but I forgot how small our budgets were. I forgot how we scrimped and we hacked around every little thing to get anything done. It really was a different environment. It really was an interesting time, and we got a lot done with very little. But yeah, I just didn't realize how little, because my salary at the time was god awful. So that's part of it. We weren't paid well, but I couldn't live on that salary now. God no. I don't think anyone could live on that salary now. I was, It was interesting times. But that being said, we did a lot with those budgets. We did them very slim. Anyway, back to the performance issue that I was thinking about. So my current thinking, I really need to get faster at these because I am eating into my day. But, we'll figure this out. We'll figure out the timing of this. This is actually really useful because I'm airing my brain out and stuff, and talking to you guys about what I'm thinking the problem space is. Because really, most of programming is thinking, right? And having that structured time for thought. It's almost like meditation, really, for me, to sort of natter the stuff through and get a sense of what I'm thinking, to discover my own brain. Anyway, performance issue. What I'm thinking before I make any big changes, I'm going to go into the engine and I'm going to put in sort of a latch variable, like a static variable that I can trigger. And when that variable is triggered, the other half of this dome should be easy to find. I'm going to force the shader code and some sections of the GPU code to basically print out when they're loading up a resource or doing like transfer. I'm going to find a lot of the like IO intensive stuff. And yeah, so basically when this latch is active, this dome should be really easy to spot. Is it there? No, it's not there. When that latch is active, I'm going to... No, it's not that latch either. Print those out, And so for the bits where I'm having trouble, sort of just pre the code line I'm having trouble, I'll activate the latch and I'll run it. And then when I hit the next frame, I'll deactivate it. And then I can sort of see the, maybe 2 frames actually, because I'm going to have to see if it's a 1 frame delay, because I do have some defer calls lying around and stuff. Anyway, the point is, I can then sort of see the scale of the work, and rather than making engine changes, I can use that, assuming I can get the correct identifiers at the right time, because obviously when you're deep in the rendering code, you might not have the user readable like node paths or whatever to identify the assets. So there may be some archaeology going on there, but it should be fine. It's an easy first step, and that'll at least help me identify what part of the engine I'm triggering, even if those parts could be better written or could have more sort of streaming delayed implementations. Rather than fully improving their implementations at the moment, I can just better know what to avoid in the short term, and that can get me to hit the frame rate targets that I need to hit right now. It's a funny twist going on there. I wonder if there's some quaternion code there that they're slurping, or they're doing some auto adjust horizon stuff that's not quite working out. I doubt it's the quest tracking stuff. The quest tracking stuff's pretty robust. Yeah, because I'll be honest, it's been a frustrating experience to dig into quest performance. But you see what I mean? Where I do like, if I'm twisted like that, it has sometimes there's some slurp stuff going on there. That's because I'm mostly used to working in console land. The console, there again, I'm telling you, it's like, it's a slurp. They've got some quaternion stuff that's misbehaving. That should be really easy to spot, because there's going to be a tower here, so it's going to be associated with one of these towers, surely. So yeah, the thing is, in console land, the I/O memory tool stuff, the performance tools, they're really robust. And on PC, they've developed a lot, things like RenderDoc and stuff, and things like Tracy and things like that. So the Quest tools have gotten a lot better, but Android as a platform, because it's built on top of, because it's a phone, right, fundamentally. And this goes back to the days of Symbian, which, if you're old enough, was the dominant, like 90-something percent, 99% or whatever, of phones back in the day used to be Symbian devices before iPhone and later Android happened. And one of the real horrible things about phone development back then, because I did a little bit of it for my dissertation and such, was, the whole idea was, hey, someone could need to call emergency services, or someone could be in a really serious thing. A phone is a very serious device. You can't mess with a phone too much. And so the whole infrastructure of phone development was a lot more locked down. It was a lot more interrupt based, and it was a very frustrating environment to code in, because the whole shtick was like, you're a shitty app developer, we can't trust you in our real-time system, which, to be fair to them, was probably very true. And this is before a lot of the modern CPU design and hyper virtualization, and a lot of the sort of like architecture design has improved a lot to sandbox stuff and whatnot. But it does mean that you look at Perfetto and you look at the CPU trace of an Android application, and the resource allocation and just how noisy things can get is kind of extreme. And I think honestly, I really wish Meta would like double down hard on their "we're going to build an OS" kind of thinking, because Android still fundamentally is a phone system and they've built on that, and that means that there's certain fundamental baked into Android thinking, which is good for Android, because you don't want your phone to not be able to call emergency services because of some dumb thing. That makes total sense to me. But for a VR headset, I mean, you always want to be rendering, and there's some the requirements are different. I feel like I don't know. I think we're still, even though we're a decade into modern consumer VR hardware, or just over a decade now. God, it is over a decade now. God, I've been doing VR since 2013. Woof. And it's 12 years, folks. 12 years. It still feels like we're very early on in many ways. It still feels like we're almost in the DOS era of VR. And we haven't really properly transitioned to VR operating systems yet. I feel like Apple's made a good effort there. And while I'm not a big fan of the Apple hardware, I think it's overpriced, I think it's over-engineered, I think it's largely just a bad form of Vario. Their software and their graphic design and their the VR design concepts they've pushed leaps and bounds before anyone else. It's one of the reasons why the Quest design has been improving so much, is because everyone's been stealing off each other again, which again, very much like the early days of Android and iOS. It's good for consumers. It's good for consumers. We get two companies trying two different approaches, going hard, and finding out, oh, actually that approach is much better, and then we get the best version. So, works out for us. But, yeah, the reality, hey Pix. The reality is, well, it is what it is, really. We're going through. I do want to wrap this, and I do want to get back to work, because I'm going to have to go back to Pocket Gamer this afternoon, because some friends are giving talks, and there's the awards for the pitch thing we took part in, which I'm not expecting much of. It's a very intense format. But yeah, if I can get that latch logic in, that would be good. That would be very good. And I can sort of find out, because I'll be honest with the Godot thing, it's probably me doing something dumb, or something that, wasn't intended. It's probably like, I'm low-key wondering if it's something to do with the font system. Clay mentioned something about the delay on when shaders are compiled being associated with an exact mesh. I thought I had everything preloaded in, but I'm wondering if there's some branching shader logics, some defines in the shader compiler that they've optimized for. That means they're technically getting a different spiv compile based on mesh stuff, which that's the kind of thing that could be really nasty for me. I'm really hoping it's not that, and if it is that, I'm gonna have to dig in and figure some stuff out. Okay, this one's obvious. This one's over here. We know this one's over here. It's got to fit. The sun is coming in from... So it is like that. Bam. Okay. It's just a rotation problem. Any more obvious? This purple building, it's not actually connected, so that's a red herring. The red brick, though, the red brick might be of help to us. There's red brick. Which way are the shadows going? The shadows are going... So it's like this way-ish? No? That's deceptive. Oh, that is deceptive. Shadows are going like this way. I feel at the back here maybe somewhere. Oh, there we go. I do like the snap behavior in this game. It makes what could be a frustrating game very, very satisfying. Likewise, I normally play on a much higher difficulty and spread the session out over multiple. I might have to do that, to be fair. Just set a timer for these things. I mean, some games naturally sort of timer themselves because they have round behavior or session behavior. So again, we're dealing with shadows that are like that. So we're dealing with this. So, oh, there we go. I always forget, use the shadows. They are so useful, especially for these bits. Where are the shadows here? So here, we're dealing with here. Oof. I don't... Greenery. Is there some greenery somewhere? Yeah, there we go. We're wrapping it up. We're wrapping it up. This tower infuriates me. If I find out this is on the edge, I'm going to be so annoyed. Because I feel like it should be so easy to spot the other half of this tower. You know? It's green. It's a vibrant green. Because it's not on any of these, is it? And I haven't lost a piece somewhere, have I? No. It's a vibrant green. It's going to be over here, isn't it? It's the bloody edge of the... Should have guessed. I should have guessed. This is a bit of pavement path, so... Unless it's a misunderstanding. Oh wait, where's... Again, pay attention to shadows. We're looking at this kind of angle. Yeah, it's going to be around the back, isn't it? I don't know if I've got a good connection for that. Unless there's an alleyway somewhere. Maybe here? No. No, it's in darkness. It's going to be up here somewhere. Don't know if we have the connection for that yet. Oh, we need to sort through these. Come on, we're right close to the end. And then we can get to some performance code. I think this is one of the things that Spelunky's good for, is that usually the intensity is ramping up, ramping up, ramping up. Whereas here, we're getting quite calm. We're going towards the end. Okay, this white bit should be super easy, right? Because it's going to be like this. Oh, there we go. Boom. Okay, let's just find pieces to finish off. Again, this is going to be... I'm looking for the other half of that wall. No, I'm not seeing an obvious connection there. Okay, I'm going to just pop that there for now. Where's the sun gone? The sun's gone there, so we're looking at that. We're looking at that kind of wall. Where are we looking? Down here somewhere? Down here somewhere. No! Who would have thought the last few pieces would be this annoying? It's because they're these really busy, noisy house structures at the end. There's no nice... This piece here should be really obvious because it's got a bit of floor. There we go. And now we get this piece here because it's like a low. Come on, is this not it? No, it's not it. Though I want this piece here. So let's look. I feel like they're tricking me. I feel like it's not actually a flat. They've cut it masterfully at the sort of edge. There we go. Alleyway. That was the alleyway piece we were trying to connect up earlier. Okay, this is going to be... Okay, this bit of roof should be easier to place. Come on. We're dealing with it like this. Come on, this should be like a banger of a piece to get in. Boom! There we go. Oh, we're close, I can feel it, I want that satisfaction. I want that ending. Making me think of Minecraft villages. Oof. Hey, there it is. There it is. Nice bit of flat. Come on, a nice bit of flat. Oh, it's nighttime. It's nighttime. Nighttime's going to make it tricky. There we go. We're literally, like, we're in that place where there's, like, so few pieces and so few holes. You can literally just try the holes. No. I say that, and then a moment later, I'm, like, annoyed with myself. Oh, this is going to be in here, isn't it? Yes, it's that dark hole. Oh, I feel like this is around here. No, it's not got the edge. This has got like these dark bits to it. Lost the sun. Lost the sun. Okay, come on, come on. There we go. Smack. Bang. Bang. I thought it was there. Just couldn't get a connection for it. I mean, this has to be here somewhere. But I'm just trying to find... There must be a piece I'm missing. No? Oh. See, this is why 3D jigsaws are so much fun. And this is the final piece. And then I'm going to go off and do my performance work. And then nick off to Games Connect. Get Pocket Gamers Connect. And I'm... Holy hell, even though it's the last piece I'm battling to find it. There it is. Shabam! And yeah, I'm hoping to either stream or do this video thing. I don't know. I will figure it out in a more elegant way in the future. But it's a hope. Thank you for dropping in.